So, starting with question one, you discover a recently hired employee may have presented false information on a resume. So, usually that you're dealing with younger employees when there's false information on a resume. So, they're usually fresh hires. And I think right out of the gate, yeah, they were lying. Okay, let's not do it again. And you're going to go 2 weeks without pay and see if you can perform the task to the standard that it needs to be done at. And if you can't, you're going to get let go. Lying was bad enough on your resume, but if you can't perform the task that I need you to perform, you're going to be terminated. So on to question two. You work for a national governing body or a league and must decide whether to do a retroactive testing on urine samples for athletes in your sport due to the recent allegations of designer steroids by athletes in your sport. Clearly if there's allegations, we're going to dive into them. So I would say we're probably going to come around and do a retroactive drug test. We're going to make sure that all of our athletes are abiding by the code of conduct that we've laid out. So if there's allegations of designer steroids, we're going to go and test to see if they're true. And if they're not, we're going to put the issue behind us. There's not really a point to go after these athletes if they can come back negative on it. But if it's positive, clearly we would investigate more. But on to question three. A number of athletes on a team have decided to stand up in support of a social cause. How can you as a sport manager support their ability to do so? First, we're going to find out what the cause is and make sure it aligns with the athletic program's vision. But outside of that, I would probably give the most responsible one log into social media to try and promote the event. Clearly this is going to look good for the athletic program, and why not? I am going to help them in any way I can. Usually nowadays social media is definitely the best way to do it, so I'm going to give them the Twitter login, or I'm going to give them the Instagram login and say, hey, market this as well as you can, and then let's get it going. So question four, an athletic director facing great pressure to field a winning team has the opportunity to hire a successful coach with a past history of recruiting violations. Right out of the gate, I'm probably going to steer away from this successful coach that has recruiting violations. I don't want it associated with my athletic program. But I know there's plenty of young and up-and-coming coaches that know what they're doing, and there's a handful of old guys always looking for a job. But at best, I'd sit down with the successful coach and be like, hey, what's the deal with these recruiting violations? Do you intend to steer in the right direction? And if so, if I think it's in the program's best interest, I will hire him for a year, see how he does, and then maybe a year or two, see if he can get a couple recruits in, and then if there's any violations after that, he's gone.